What's up, everybody? It's your boy Get in the Game, and today I have another video for you in regards to additional tips for stacking charges. Now, please keep in mind that this is not going to be a tutorial for stacking charges. It's going to be additional tips to help you when stacking charges. Before I start and go any further, big shout out to my supporters, my subscribers, my viewers. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for showing me so much love. I wouldn't be here without you guys, and I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for the support. Now, let's get into it. So, I'm going to give you guys 5 additional tips in regards to stacking charges. Now, before I start, I just want to let you guys know I'm not saying that I'm not trying to throw any shade at anyone, any player in regards to the stacking charges, because I know there are some scenarios where people are applying the charges correctly, they're doing everything correctly, and they're still losing conduct points. So I believe there's still some fixes that the developers need to make. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that out there, guys. But I want to give you guys these additional tips to help you in making your experience with the stacking update go so much better. Okay, the first tip I'm gonna give you is make sure that you are applying the stacking charges correctly. Now, I only say this because I believe, and I am guilty of this, I believe what's happening, um, besides the errors that need to be fixed where we are doing things right, there are times we're applying things wrong and we don't know it. I believe we have to go back to the basics. We're getting too, I think when the update, we're getting too caught up with us throwing all the charges at the NPC player. We're getting too caught up with us throwing all the charges out there. We really need to take our time and do this thoroughly. Remember, this is a very technical game. You really have to sometimes step back and pay attention to what you're doing, because sometimes you can make a wrong decision and it could affect everything else, especially if you're applying a stack charge, and we are going to get to that. So that's tip number one. Um, and these other tips I'm about to give you are going to play into number one. So always make sure you apply the charges correctly. Pay attention. Read things thoroughly. Take a step back. Am I doing this right? Can I do this? And with that in mind, tip number two is going to be tip number two. Just also know there's different variations to how you apply stacking charges. So, for example, if you, I don't know, you go to a motor vehicle accident, the person's is under influence of alcohol. You already know that you are going to arrest this individual, right? Now, you can say, now you have players out there who, because once you have the probable cause, once you know you're going to arrest somebody, that gives you green light to search the suspect and their car, especially on an accident scene or a motor vehicle stop. That already gives you green light to search their person and their car. Now, some people like to put them in handcuffs and do the search later. Some people like to search their car first, and stack everything all at once. This is very important, what I'm about to say. The stacking charges, liability or reason, we cannot forget the purpose of that. The whole purpose of the stacking charges, in my opinion, wasn't created for us just to throw all these charges at them at once. The whole purpose was to charge them with multiple offenses in areas we couldn't have before, prior to this update. So again, when you're stacking charges, always go off what you know, but take your time with it. You don't always have to stack right away. As long as you get the points and you are doing things correctly, you don't have to use the stack feature. Now, I did make a mistake in my previous video, and well, going back off my previous video, I said, guys, going forward, use square. Um, that's not the case. I did make a mistake. You don't have to use square, because again, I was caught up with this stacking. You don't have to. Take your time with it. We're going to have some gameplay shortly, and I'm gonna go over scenarios with you guys. Okay. That's number two. So let's make sure there's different variations. Number three, utilize a handbook. I cannot stress this enough. A lot of times people ask me, get in the game. When do I know when I could search and I could frisk? Well, when you open the handbook, go down to actions, go down to evidence, okay? And if you read here, it gives you all the scenarios where you can frisk and all the scenarios where you can search. Okay. For example, frisking. Only when you can only frisk when the person's angry, avoiding eye contact, fearful, looking around, nervous, and trembling. And then it shows you searching. And this it even goes further to show you when can you handcuff and arrest. Please read over these things, learn these things. If you have any questions or concerns in the middle of your gameplay, stop and look through your handbook. This is your ultimate guide here on what to do and what not to do. Okay, I'm not saying that there's bugs and glitches in the game that's making us lose conduct points, because there are, but just make sure you know this stuff. Okay, I'm not gonna go everything in detail. Um, but these are always, and as just another point of advice, always look for your indicators on your traffic stops in your interaction with deal with pedestrians. Those things are going to help you, and we're going to go over indicators um, in a little bit. Um, Tip number four: go off what you know. This is so important. What do I mean by that? So, if you let's say you got somebody, you know you're gonna arrest them. However, there are scenarios that can be very tricky. And let me give you an example. You have a person, I don't know, you're on an accident scene, you have somebody, you're gonna arrest them for a DUI, right? However, at the same time, they have a stolen ID. Okay. Now the the ID, when you go find out who they really are, like say for example, you arrested somebody for a DUI, but they present to you a stolen ID. That's going to be another charge. However, the car is in their name. Say the car's in their name, but they gave you a stolen ID, and now they you see that the ID they presented to you is not expired. But when you ran their plate, it's showing that their ID expired. Those scenarios are tricky because you're now like, what do I do now? Do I charge for expired ID or not? Um, and I have to actually kind of demonstrate that scenario to help you guys with that. So I'm not going to go into that. From my experience, if they present to you an ID that is valid, you go off that. But at any point, always go off what you know. So what I really mean is that if you are in doubt or have questions about a charge, don't charge it. Again, let's not get carried away with throwing all the charges at the suspect. The whole reason for the stacking was to apply those charges that we couldn't apply before, prior to the update. So now, for example, we get a drug bust, which I'm gonna show you guys. When we caught them, we always got them for fleeing, and then we found the drugs on them, and we weren't able to apply the drug charge because we only get to arrest for the fleeing charge. So we gotta remember the whole point of stacking is not to just throw all the offenses. So we get carried away with that, and then we make a mistake, and then our arrest um, becomes a bad scenario because we start losing conduct points because we're trying to stack all things in one and we're forgetting the general purpose. You don't always have to use a stack feature. We're gonna go over that. Again, I'm gonna show you guys some scenarios and we're gonna go over that. So that was tip number four. Go off what you know. The last but not least, trial and error, and it goes hand in hand with tip number four. Tip number five is trial and error. Experiment. So if you're in a situation, um, even when you're streaming, you're in a situation and you get jammed up, you don't know what to do. Make sure you take a note of it and visit this note of it and play some open gameplay and go find that scenario again and find out what one like say you keep losing conduct points for a certain scenario, and you say, wait, I'm doing things right, but I keep losing conduct points. Go back, revisit that scenario, and find another way to get that charge you want, or just experiment in your gameplay. Find out what works and what doesn't work. Okay, guys, because there's always ways around things where you can get that charge you want. You just got to find out how. So I cannot stress these tips enough. I hope these tips are helpful. If you want to stop here and watching this video, you can. um, I'm going to just go over the 5 tips one more time. One, apply charges correctly. Please make sure you apply the charges correctly. Number two, just know there's different variations when applying these charges. You could do it in so many different ways. You don't always have to use a stack option. Just remember that you don't always have to use a stack option. The stack option is there primarily if you find something after you got the person arrested. If you find something, say you got the person cuffed, now you go to search their car. Okay, so we got to remember the whole general function of the stack. We don't always have to stack everything right off the bat. The third tip, again, utilize the handbook. You're in a situation where you don't know and you need some further guidance. Use the handbook. The handbook is very helpful because this is a very technical game, and sometimes we could be making a wrong decisions when indeed we think we're not. So that's be mindful of that. Number four, again, go off what you know. If you're in a situation and you say, I don't know if I could apply this charge in this scenario, then don't do it. Just get them for what you know. Charge them for what you at least. So at least in this way, you're not gonna lose conduct points, and you're gonna get the points you want. Now you're gonna may feel as though you're at a loss because, hey, dag, I don't know if I. Well, that's when you go and experiment. That's tip number 5. Go and experiment, trial and error. Go revisit that scene again and say, oh, let me just have a trial error here. Let me experiment. That's what I do, and that's how I figure out things. So, again, I hope this was very helpful for you guys. If you wanna, at this point in the video, you can stop listening. From here on out, I'm just gonna do a few. I'm gonna drive around. We're gonna get some drug busts, and we're gonna do a different. We're gonna go and run into some different scenarios, um, into stacking charges, and apply everything what I have said. Okay, so watch my gameplay again. That was it for the tips. Um, just watch my gameplay and just pay close attention if you want to stick around for the gameplay. Okay, so let's remember those 5 tips. The 5 tips will be in the description. Okay, remember, don't uh just remember the purpose of stacking. It's not to throw everything all at once. The purpose is to use that extra function, liability or reason, to add that extra charge upon searching somebody who has drugs, to add the extra charge after finding a illegal weapon or drugs in their car. Okay, there's always ways to get around it, guys. Just remember that you don't always have to use that stack feature. Okay, um, let me just throw this. So prime example. I do want to talk about indicators. So I'm gonna, uh, and like I said, you don't have to stick around, but let's talk about indicators real quick. Um, perfect scenario. You go and stop a person who's drinking in public, right? And someone asked me, well, can I search that person? They're drinking in public. The answer is no. The only time you can search that person for drinking in public is when you get an indicator, the smell of alcohol. That's when you can search it. So remember, you cannot search it. You cannot generally search and frisk a person. You got to have the probable cause, enough probable cause to search and frisk. So unless you get an indicator from that person drinking in public, if you don't get an indicator that allows you to frisk a search, you cannot do it. Okay, that's always remember that. So if you encounter someone drinking in public, and don't search them, you're gonna lose conduct points unless you get that indicator. I smell alcohol. That's usually a common one. Um, okay, so let's drive around and see if we. Oh, we got a wallet thief. So let's get her. Let's get her. So we're gonna run into some scenarios. We're gonna use a stack and charge. Uh, let's see if I can get jaywalking. Oh, she's coming right to the precinct. That's.
Thief! Please, somebody stop him!
Stop her. Perfect. And for time's sake, I'm just gonna call for a transport. So we know we got jaywalking, right? And we know we got a wallet theft. So again, take your time. I don't always have to stack charges. There's other ways around it. So, oh, can I interact? Let's ask for
Show me
ID.
your ID, please.
Okay, officer.
Okay, we don't always have to stack charges. And I'm gonna show you guys what I mean. That's why we have liability or reason to help us out. Okay, she doesn't have a gun permit. Now, we're gonna handcuff her. I'm not gonna even stack charges. I can stack the jaywalking if I want, but I'm not gonna even stack. I just want to just show you guys. I'm not gonna even stack charges because we're gonna use the whole purpose of stacking charges. I'm just gonna arrest her for crime
The
while
reason
at
why
that.
you're under arrest is because you have committed larceny.
I'm sorry for this.
Now, I know she jaywalked. Okay. Ooh. Now let's search her.
Please cooperate for a search procedure.
And I know some of you guys out there probably already play this way, so keep it up. But you could do things differently. There's different variations, as I said. All right, found a stolen wallet. You retrieve the stolen wallet, return it to the owner. Okay. All right, she's going crazy in the background. All right, now liability reason, jaywalking. Let's see if we get it. She indeed was jaywalking. So liability reason. Oh, we can't. All right, so it looks like we can't necessarily use that, but we can still issue her for jaywalking. Remember the basics, guys. Really don't forget the basics, because sometimes we get carried away with stacking, that sometimes we make these small mistakes. So I'm just gonna hit her with jaywalking. I don't have to. I mean, you don't have to stack all the time. You're still gonna get the points. Just remember
I
that.
have to fine you for jaywalking. It will cost you $25.
So much money for such a little infraction.
And that, but now I will say this: stacking, on the other hand, to look at things differently, it does make things more convenient. So if you want to apply a charge all at once instead of going back in and out of the menu, you can just apply all at once instead of going back and forth between the menus. So it is convenient in that sense. So we charge her for jaywalking. Now I wonder if I could charge her for fleeing. I wonder if I get a charge for that. I should be able to get charged for that. I ran into this scenario and I totally forgot. I think you are. So I could do two things from here going off my tips. I can either apply the I could go off what I know and just say, hey, listen, I'm not sure. I got to revisit this scenario again. Or you can say, you know what, I'm going to go in a trial and error mode. Let me experiment. If I lose points, I lose points. So let's see if we can get the fleeing charge. So now I'm going to use tip number 5, trial and error mode and experiment. And I want to use this for the video's sake just to see what I mean. So let's go into trial error mode because I'm not sure. Usually I want to back. Usually, per se, in my, when I'm playing, I don't want to back off. I'm like, I don't want to lose any conduct points. But for the sake of the video, let's try and get the charge. Let's go into our trial and experiment tip, and let's see what happens. So we're going to go liability reasons, and we're going to flee. I don't think I'm going to get it, because I think I did try to do a trial error on this before, but sometimes I lose, I don't recall. So let me see. Let's see if we get fleeing.
I'm arresting you for the multiple felonies
We got
you
fleeing.
committed.
Wow,
Perfect.
You could arrest me for all these reasons? I'm sorry.
So now I know. I had somebody with the wallet theft. They were fleeing. I got them. I stacked it. So remember, take your time. Think about stuff. Again, I use let me see. It's gonna be like a trial error. But yeah.
Back up to take the suspect into custody.
So that was a great scenario. Let's try for one more. And sometimes I don't know. I play this game. Oh, here's another
Oh yeah.
scenario. Drinking in public. Let's see. Classic example. I'm gonna detain her for drinking in public. Now, you always want to look for indicators. Okay. I'm either going to, I'm gonna get an indicator saying if you smell alcohol, or I'm not going to get it. If you do get it, then you can go forward with the search. If you don't get it, you cannot search the person.
You're being detained for drinking in public.
I'm really sorry.
I smell alcohol. We just got our indicator. Now I can search her.
Please show me your ID.
So we're going to ask for her
Here you
IDs.
go, officer.
So now we're going to find out more about this individual. Ooh, doesn't necessarily look like her, but she could have her hair rolled up. But the eye cut, her lips match. No gun permit. Um, and let's remember that sometimes we get in these situations like that person doesn't look like her. Her hair is not down. And the developers did a good job in mixing things up. Just because her hair is up or rolled up or not the same in the picture does not mean it's her. That's because even though they look, even though it's not truly identical, doesn't mean it's not that person. So make sure you look at other things: the nose, eye color, the lips, and just because they're not wearing the same thing in the picture doesn't mean it's not them. So now we're gonna search her because
I need to do a search
we got
on
the
you to see
indicator,
if you're
smell
carrying
alcohol.
anything illegal.
And then we gotta give you one more scenario with a drug bust, okay? And that would be it. So we didn't find anything going on. The only thing we can get her with is drinking in public.
I have to fine you for drinking in public. It will cost you $300.
Oh, come on. That's so much money.
All right, let her go.
It's fine. Have a nice day.
All right, so we can't, again, guys, we cannot forget the purpose of stacking. You know, let's be careful and trying to throw things all at once, because once you include something that's wrong, it's going to throw you off your game. Just take your time. You know, stack when needed. I would say that, and going forward, just stack when you feel those needs. Like this guy's doing graffiti. So, but if you're one of those players that say, hey, listen, I like to stack everything at one time, it's more convenient, go ahead, go right with it. But again, take your time. So let's see. What? I can't interview this guy? Did I stop him already? Maybe I stopped him earlier, but it's not allowing me to interact. That's okay, we don't have time for the sake of the video. So we're gonna go to one of my favorite spots where a lot of drug deals are common, and we're gonna end the stream there. It's right here between Sharnwick and Nelson. This roundabout right here. I mean, well, between Brixton and Sharnwick. So let me see if I get there faster. Yeah, go up, make a right. No, the other way. All right, guys. So I hope this has been a great help for you guys. Again, if you want to end the video, end it now. If you want to continue look on for one more scenario, continue look on. We're gonna get a. We're gonna do one more. Oh, another wallet theft. Should we get we'll let that person go and focus on our drug bust. We already had a scenario with the wallet theft. And I'll give you guys one more scenario with a drug bust. I don't want to take away from the video too long. I don't want to be too long. Again, so this is a really good spot. I believe the best spot in the game for drug busts. Now, again, guys, last thing I do want to talk about is indicators. Use those indicators. Pay close attention to the indicators. The indicators are a guide to help you and letting you know what you can do and what you cannot do. Always look for those indicators, okay? Now, all these individuals are sellers, okay? All right? But I cannot just detain them or stop them for no reason. I have to use my intuition button, which is L1 on the PlayStation, or LB on the Xbox. Right now, I'm not getting anything. So I really don't have no proper cause to bother these individuals or stop them unless they run. Now, if I get that indication that the person was selling drugs or possibly selling drugs or buying drugs, then I could detain that person. But unless I do, I can't. Now, here we go. There's our exchange right there. So, lady in red is the seller. Um, the lady in yellow is the buyer. Okay. Wait until you get your indicator. But if I do approach right now, they're gonna run. So let's know that. All right. So they both went
What's
off.
up, officer?
And we're gonna get that's jaywalking right there. We got jaywalking fleeing right off the bat. Oh, I missed.
Do not move!
Oh.
Do you understand?
Alright, so she surrendered, so that's good. Now we're gonna get her ID.
Let me have a look at your ID, please.
Yeah, sure, officer.
Oh, fake ID. This is perfect. So now we know she got a fake ID or a stolen ID. Fake ID. So now we know we got fleeing, jaywalking, and we have a fake ID. Now, you may say, get in the game. What if I'm one of those individuals just like stacking everything? Can I do it? Yes, absolutely. I'm not telling you guys not to do that. I'm just saying be mindful how you do it and how you apply it. Go off what you know. Okay? So, now, we're not going to be able to get the drugs yet, and that's why we have this stacking. That's the whole function of stacking. But we can't get her for what we do know. We know that she was jaywalking. We got the we know we're going to get the fleeing from us, and we know we're going to be arresting her for what's that? The fake ID. Fake ID. Perfect. Issue all violations.
I'm putting you in handcuffs now. Then please step onto the sidewalk.
I won't say anything before I've talked to my lawyer.
Perfect. Now, no conduct point loss. We gain RSP. Now, let's search her. This is the primary function of stacking. To get those, again, to get that offense that we couldn't get prior to the update after we already have handcuffed them. So that's when liability or reason comes in. Now, we're going to, wait, now we're going to search because we know she has drugs.
Put your hands up slowly, please. I'm going to search you.
And now, this is where bag of white powder. Perfect. Liability or reason.
You're under arrest for committing numerous crimes.
I know I'm not flawless, but are all of those really reasons to arrest me?
Yep. So I'm just going to wrap it up here. I really appreciate you guys for watching. I hope this was a help to you guys. Again, just remember those offenses. Tip number 1, apply charges correctly. Number 2, just understand there's different variations you go about stacking charges differently. Doesn't necessarily have to be the same way the whole time. Another key point, another tip is that utilize a handbook. I cannot stress enough. That's your ultimate guide in helping you. Number 4, go off what you know. Just go off what you know. Okay, and if you are in doubt, just don't apply the charge. At least in that situation, you're not gonna lose conduct points because you're just going off primary what you know works. You're going off what you know, and then you're still having a hard time. Just use trial and error, experiment. Okay, these things will definitely help you and make your gameplay with stacking charges more smoothly. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget the main purpose of stacking charges is to get those offenses that we couldn't get prior to the update. Okay, so don't forget that. You don't want to necessarily just throw everything and stack. If you want to play that way, that's fine. But just keep that in the back of your mind. Take your time and enjoy the game, guys. Thank you guys for watching and have a great week.
Hello, officer. I need your help, please.